Welcome to Living the Miracle. Woohoo! We're living the miracle. You are a living miracle. I'm a living miracle. We're living miracles. We are living miracles and we are living the miracle. And this talk, I'm so excited to come to you. I'm at Rythmia and I am substituting for Jerry for the next 4 weeks. He's out of the country on official business. Some very exciting things are happening at Rythmia and he's out taking care of them. And so I get to substitute for Jerry. And I wanted to do a special series while I get to sit in this seat. And the series is really on integration, on living the miracle. And our first talk today is called Living the Miracle. You got the message. Now what? But before I get into that, I want to welcome you and let you know I'm John Jacob Mubarak. And it's my great pleasure to be here. I get to do this. Wow, this is such amazing life. And I want to tell you a little bit about Rythmia. Rythmia is a life advancement center. We call it a life advancement center because people change their lives here. And the advancement of life isn't really about tips or techniques for becoming more productive or more successful or figuring out what your life purpose is. Here at Rythmia, the advancement of life is when you see who you've become, when you see some aspect of yourself, a protective armor that you built because you didn't want to feel some uncomfortable things, and realizing that that protective armor didn't help you or protect you from those uncomfortable things, but rather imprisoned you in a story. When you see that, we call that seeing who you've become. And then you get to merge with your soul, which is this state of our true bliss. The nature of our life is to live in bliss of oneness. That's what a soul merger is. And then from that soul merger, from being whole, you get to heal your body, you get to heal your heart, you get to forgive the unforgivable. That's what happens at Rythmia every week. I've had the great privilege of being here since 2017, 8 years. And guess what? It hasn't gotten old. It hasn't gotten stale in any way. It's because miracles aren't stale. And we see miracles every week, every day. So that's a little bit about Rythmia. We're here in Costa Rica, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. You can call the Rythmia line. You can check out rythmia.com. Now, so you've got the message. Now what? You've had a plant medicine ceremony. You've had a deep insight in meditation. You've gone to a retreat. What do you do with this information, right? This theme, Living the Miracle, is like a continuation of the live stream that I do on Thursdays called Walking the Path. But this is a focus on what comes after ceremony, right? And today's topic, what do you do? Now what? You got the message, now what? So I thought I would share with you a personal story of a message I got and what I did with it, because I think this is one of the key pieces for integration. So I got to do a TED Talk recently, which was so cool. And one of the things I talked about in the talk was an experience that I had where I noticed some jealousy and envy were coming up within me. I was with a group of friends. We were sharing about our projects and all these people I love. And when two of my friends, people that I really adore, started sharing about their project, I was like, I turned into like Simon Cowell. I was like, that's not going to work. Nobody's going to go for that. Like, oh my God. It was like, who is this person? Because spiritually, I wanted the best for them. And intellectually, I wanted the best for them. But apparently, emotionally, I was feeling envious, cynical, resentful. It's like, what is that? And when I saw what that was, that it was the feelings of envy, I did what we do here, every week is you trace it back. So you've had a ceremony. You've come up with these ideas of, oh my God, I have these feelings of jealousy and envy. Now what? What do you do? So that emotions here lead to revelation, a deeper truth of what you're avoiding. Because what we say is when you see who you've become is what you're not wanting to see, feel, think, hear, or know. So, the shift came in realizing that the message wasn't just information, but it's an invitation to become something new. So the information that you receive in ceremony, the messages that you get in meditation, when you're doing breath work, when you are in nature, when uncomfortable situations arise in life, the messages that you get aren't just information. They're invitations to heal. They're invitations to grow. They're invitations to release something that is no longer serving you. So, I received the message that I'm meant to be in my fullness, my radiance. And I couldn't stay in that energy if I was still in the energy of envy. I couldn't be in the energy of envy and live in that truth. So the power came for me in this when I got to choose to embody that message. How do you embody the messages that you receive in ceremony? So there's all sorts of practices that help anchor ceremony: meditation, breath work, yoga, somatic integration of all sorts, which are really important. But all of these things are in a specialized location, right? Like in ceremony, you're on the mattress. In yoga, you're on the mat. In meditation, you're on the cushion. In breath work, you're on the mat. So how do you take it out of breath work, out of yoga, out of ceremony, out of meditation, and into your everyday life? And that power for me came when I chose to embody it. And how I chose to embody the message that I received was through the use of a mantra. And a mantra is one of the key pieces for me. It's a mind treatment. It's a mind treatment that treats the emotional body. It's a mental treatment that treats the emotional body. And, for you, what is it? What is the message that you got in ceremony? What is the message that you got in meditation? Was it that you're safe? Was it that there's room for you? Was it that your light doesn't diminish others? What was the message? Now, how do we take that into daily life? And the first thing I want to kind of talk about here is, once you receiving the message is a sacred moment, but living the message is a practice, okay? And I want to reintroduce something that I talk about frequently because I think it's so important. The 4 stages of mastery mirror to me the integration process. So the 4 stages of mastery are: you're first unconscious and incompetent. You don't know what the issue is, and if you did know what it was, you'd be incompetent at dealing with it. Then you become conscious, but you're still incompetent. I know better, but I'm not there yet, right? I'm conscious, but I can't fix it. Then conscious competent. I can do it if I focus, right? Conscious competent is I know, I see the issue, and if I really focus on it every moment, I'm really mindful, then I can do it. And then you become unconscious and competent. It becomes second nature. It's embodied. So conscious incompetent to conscious competent, that's the cycle of integration. So you receive a message in ceremony and meditation and yoga and breath work, and now you go into life. Let's say the message was about forgiveness. You go into life, and now you need to, you run into those people. Sorry, I was like, whoop, I'm back. So you get a message about forgiveness, and you forgive these people that have been your nemesis. I forgive them. Oh my God, I see we're all one. It's beautiful. Then you get out of ceremony and you go back home and you see those people, and something in you goes, I'm not too fond of those people. You're like, I thought I forgave them in ceremony. Ugh. But now the choice is, you get to make a choice. Right now you're between conscious incompetent and conscious competent. Now you get to make a choice. I'm going to choose to forgive again. I choose, and every time you choose, you're setting a new neural pathway. Every time you choose, you're instilling a new pattern, a new habit, a new way of being. And so that choice, it's in that moment between conscious incompetent and conscious competent that you can use your mantra. So when I got the message, I was in conscious incompetent. But each time I repeated my mantra and acted from it, I moved into conscious competent. So I got the message like, dude, You got these people you love, you're feeling jealousy and envy towards them, and that's not who you are intellectually, that's not who you are spiritually, but emotionally, you're still feeling like a 6-year-old kid who got left behind, right? So now when feelings of being left behind or jealousy or resentment come up with in any situation in life, I go to my mantra. And that's continuing to integrate this new insight that I don't need to be jealous or envious of anyone, that I'm on my path. My mantra really helps me to anchor into this. So I want to invite you to choose. This is a practical tool to live the message that you received, is to create a powerful mantra that reminds you of the lesson that you learned in ceremony, so that when you go into life and that same thing comes up again, you lean into your mantra. It's a mental mind treatment that treats the emotional body, because what you're treating in ceremony is the emotional body. You're healing the emotional body in ceremony. Now you have to keep reinforcing that in order to embody it finally and make it second nature in your life, to really embody the message that you received from ceremony. So choose a mantra that anchors your message. And a great mantra does 3 things. First, it reminds you that you're connected with everything. Second, it affirms your wholeness, your enoughness, your perfection. Third, it reclaims your power. So for example, you might say, I'm connected to everything and everyone. I'm connected to everything and everyone. That's the first sentence of a mantra, to remind you, I'm connected. There's no separation. I can't be jealous or envious. I can't be in unforgiveness to someone if I'm connected to everything and everyone. First sentence. Second sentence reminds you of your enoughness, of your wholeness. This moment is enough and I'm enough in it. Every part of me is worthy. Every part of me deserves love and appreciation. Something along those lines. Your words that resonate with you. The third sentence of the mantra is reclaiming your power. Let's remind ourselves of who we really are. The kings and queens, noble, sentient beings, the creators of our life experience. You are not a victim. You may have been victimized. Some bad shit might have gone down in life that wasn't fair, wasn't just, wasn't right. But you're not a victim. You may have been victimized, but your identity is not victim. Your identity is not trauma survivor forever. No. Are you ready to get rid of that shit? Good. I am too. So now we go to, I create what I want. I'm the creator of my life experience. I create my experience. I'm creating everything in my experience, and I want to create something new. What I want, what I create, turns to gold. So put that all together. I'm connected to everything and everyone. This moment is enough and I'm enough in it. Everything that I create turns to gold. Now, every time those old feelings come up, you say that mantra, it treats your mind and treats your emotional body. So this is the inspired action. What would it look like? What would your behavior look like if you embodied that message? What would your behavior look like if the message that you received were already true? If I really believed this message was true, what would I do today? If you really believed that the message that you received in ceremony was true, what would you do today? What action would you take today? And don't worry. I'm looking, Brother Diego, I see you're commenting, and I can't see from here, but I love you, man, and thank you so much. You're such a beautiful soul. Love you, brother. If you fall into old patterns, pause and return with compassion. It's normal. You're between conscious incompetent and conscious competent. You're in the integration cycle. So you're gonna default to the old way. Old patterns come up. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself a break and then choose again. Pause and return with compassion. Practice self-forgiveness and gently bring yourself back. I'm really learning not to judge myself. Like, it's okay. Sometimes not only do I sometimes default back to an old pattern, sometimes I intentionally do. Sometimes I intentionally go, you know what? I don't feel like being all spiritual today. I'm going to be a shithead. You know, it is what it is. And then I come back. Okay, I got that shithead thing out, and now I'm ready to come back. We got to be gentle with ourselves. We got to be real. I mean, this is called practice. It's not called perfection. And the truth is that we're perfect beings of light and love already. And we're just uncovering all the shit that we're not. But sometimes, you know, we go back in the matrix. You know, sometimes I just want to go back in the matrix. I want to live in this awakened reality. I want to go back into the matrix. Okay. All right. So then I binge watch, you know, Netflix or something. It's all right. It's all right. So, okay, where are we at? I think we're doing good. So let me give you some questions to ask yourself post talk. What is one area of your life that you're not yet living the message that you received? What's one area of your life where you're not quite yet living the message that you received in ceremony? And what would it look like if you walked in a version of you where that message was already true? Like, visualize that person, and you start to rise up to the level of what's possible in your life. But so often we're beating ourselves up, telling ourselves that we're not, and we drag ourselves down. So now visualize, imagine who would that person be if that message that I received in ceremony or in meditation or in yoga or in breath work, if that message were already true, already embodied in my life, what would I be doing? Who would I be? Who would I be hanging around with? What would my life look like? And now you rise up to that vision. And then what mantra could you use? What mantra could you use to treat your mental body and your emotional body to help remind you of the message that you received? Okay, so let me just anchor in here for a second. You got the message because you were ready to receive it. You got the message because you were ready to receive it. You wouldn't have gotten the message if you weren't ready. So you got it. You got it. You're ready. Now, integration is remembering that and choosing, returning, not perfection. It just keeps choosing. There's a process. You didn't learn to tie your shoes all at once. You didn't learn to walk all at once. And I'm pretty sure when you were learning to walk, your parents weren't belittling you, going, what a shithead. He only took 2 steps and couldn't walk. What a fucking loser. No, they weren't saying that shit. They were like, oh, yay, you took 2 steps, right? That's how we need to be with ourselves. We need to love ourselves that much. And then let's just take a breath together to finish. Let's just take a breath together and say, inhale and say, I receive the message. And exhale and say, I live the message. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, I receive the message. Exhale, I live the message. Inhale, I receive the message. Exhale, I live the message. Okay. Man, this is fun. Next week, next Tuesday, we're going to do sacred discipline versus spiritual highs, right? The highs that you get in ceremony versus the sacred discipline that you got to do to stabilize those highs. All right, so that's next week. I'll be back Thursday for Walking the Path, and we're doing a powerful session, a series this month on Walking the Path. So I'll see you there next Thursday, this coming Thursday, in a couple of days at 1:00 Mountain Time. That's noon Pacific, 3:00 Eastern. And I appreciate you so much. Peace and richest blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you.